The old grandfather clock in the hallway had always been a silent witness to the passing of time in the Whitmore family's countryside estate. Its pendulum swung faithfully, ticking away each second with a rhythm that brought comfort and consistency. That was until the night of Eleanor Whitmore's disappearance. It was a stormy evening, the kind where lightning seemed to cut the sky open and thunder roared like a beast unleashed. Eleanor had gone to her room early, complaining of a headache. She was never seen again. The only clue left behind was the sound that woke the entire house, a loud chime, followed by silence. When the family came rushing out, they found the grandfather clock had stopped, the hands frozen precisely at midnight. No one could explain it. The clock had never malfunctioned in over 100 years, and Eleanor, sweet, gentle Eleanor, had no reason to run away. There were no signs of struggle, no packed bags, no open windows, only the clock and the lingering scent of lavender she always wore. Days turned into weeks. The police conducted their searches, reporters came and went, and the estate slowly returned to an eerie normalcy. But the clock remained still. Every attempt to fix it failed. New parts were fitted, the gears were cleaned, yet something unseen resisted its repair. Eventually, it was left alone, a silent monument in the hall. Then 1 year later, on the exact anniversary of Eleanor's disappearance, the clock ticked once, and that was when strange things began happening again. The tick was soft, almost imperceptible, but in the dead of night, it sounded like a thunderclap to Thomas Whitmore, Eleanor's older brother. He sat up in bed, heart racing. He hadn't heard that sound in a year, not since the clock had stopped. He rose slowly, unsure if it had been a dream, but something in his chest pulled him toward the hallway. The corridor was cold, colder than it should have been in early autumn. As he approached the grandfather clock, he noticed a faint glow behind the glass face. The hands had moved. They now pointed to 12:01. Thomas stared, chills crawling up his neck. That was impossible. No one had touched the clock in months. As he reached out a hand to touch the pendulum, a whisper floated through the hallway. "Thomas?" He froze. It was Eleanor's voice. The whisper was soft, distant, as though carried on the wind from another world. He spun around, expecting to see someone behind him, but the hallway was empty. Only portraits of long-dead ancestors stared down at him with hollow eyes. "Eleanor?" he called out, unsure if he wanted an answer. No reply, only silence. The next morning, Thomas didn't mention the voice. He barely mentioned the ticking clock, which had once again stopped. Its hands stuck at 12:01, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone had tried to reach out to him. That evening, he returned to the hallway. He waited. Midnight came. Nothing happened. But at 12:01, the clock ticked again, and this time, the hallway mirror, untouched for years, fogged up from the inside. Slowly, letters began to appear on the glass as though drawn by an invisible finger. "Help me!" Thomas knew he couldn't ignore it any longer. The whispers, the ticking, the messages, they weren't coincidences. Eleanor was trying to reach him, trapped somewhere between the present and the past. Determined, he began researching the history of the estate and the origins of the grandfather clock. He discovered it was crafted by a reclusive watchmaker in 1799, a man rumored to have dabbled in occult practices. The watchmaker believed time was a veil, thin, fragile, and that with the right mechanisms, one could peer through it, or even cross it. Thomas searched every corner of the estate, and finally uncovered a hidden compartment behind the clock. Inside was a small brass key and a faded letter. To reverse the hour, one must give what was taken, life for life or truth for truth. Midnight marks the door, but 12:01 is when it opens. He waited until the next stormy night, just like the night Eleanor vanished. At midnight, he wound the clock with the brass key. The gears groaned, resisting, then slowly began to turn. As the hands reached 12:01, the pendulum swung violently, and the air grew thick with cold. Then the hallway split open. A rift shimmered like water, revealing a shadowed world. Thomas stepped through without hesitation. He found Eleanor trapped in a dim echo of their home, untouched by time. She turned, her eyes filled with disbelief. "You came," she whispered. He reached for her hand. The moment they touched, the world around them began to collapse, folding in on itself. A blinding light filled everything. The next morning, the clock was gone. So were Thomas and Eleanor. All that remained in the hallway was the mirror, now clear, and the faint scent of lavender in the air. And for the first time in years, silence truly returned to the Whitmore estate forever.